Upon the release of Skyrim Special Edition, in conjunction with the recent first birthday of Fallout 4, I decided I would compare the two games that truly got me interested in Bethesda RPGs as a whole. In my honest opinion, after playing the ever-living shit out of both Skyrim and Fallout 4, they were both amazing at telling their own unique stories. Set in the mystical world of Nirn, Skyrim transports you to a faraway world full of cat and lizard people, along with zombie ancestors and dragons. You may take up the role of a character of unknown descent arrested on the Skyrim-Cyrodiil border for unknown reasons. Basically, every Elder Scrolls game starts with you being arrested in order for you to form your own backstory for your character. Your beheading is rudely interrupted by the dragon known as Alduin, the World Eater, from which you narrowly escape with the help of either the Imperials or the Stormcloaks, who are the game's two warring factions. From here, you begin your adventure, and you learn the true meaning of the word Dragonborn. (2077) Boston, Massachusetts. We open to a man describing the atrocities of war, and that if there's one phrase that withstands the test of time, it's that war never changes. After picking the name, gender, and attributes of your character, the bombs fall, and you must take your family to Vault 111. Upon arrival, you're told to enter the decontamination pods, which in all honesty, are cryogenic stasis pods made to keep your family alive for some 200 years or so. About 150 years later, a group of unknown kidnappers come, kill your spouse, and kidnap your son. Your true awakening is in the year 2287, where you find a failed vault and a decimated world. You know now that your adventure must truly begin, for you are the sole survivor. Like I previously stated, I love both games, but they both greatly get across their main stories in their own unique ways. Now, while I feel their main questlines were rather weak compared to their predecessors, I do feel that they were still great. However, I have to give Skyrim a point for its main questline here, due in part to Fallout 4 having required the settlement system be used. Originally it was going to be optional, which at that point was rather exciting. When it got to a point where I had to scavenge every single item just to continue the main story, I decided it honestly wasn't that great of a feature. In this section, I plan to analyze the gameplay features, enemy types, and overall experience of playing Skyrim and Fallout 4 alike. In the base game of Skyrim, there are 343 discoverable locations, with approximately 90% of them being quest-related. The thing is, the locations with no quest tied to them generally went undiscovered to the average gamer. A prime example of this is the abandoned prison located in the Hold of Riften. I've been playing Skyrim for the better part of 5 years now, and have only just found this location on my most recent playthrough of the game. The sad thing about this is this location has its own little story in the grand scheme of the Elder Scrolls, and many gamers, myself included, just skip over it without realizing it. A little snippet of history, just gone. With the settlements taking up 42 of the 510 total discoverable locations, it's no wonder why I've found way more locations in Fallout 4 than Skyrim. Along with there being a lacking amount of large side quests, I found myself just wandering the wastes looking for a new challenge for my character. I definitely did find a majority of the locations in the base game, ranging from small to big. Also, the added boost in experience for discovering a location in Fallout increased my want to explore. Skyrim was definitely lacking in the enemy department in comparison to Fallout, due in part to Fallout having many different enemy types, such as Mirelurks, Mirelurk Kings and Queens, Super Mutants, Super Mutant Behemoths, Raider, the Children of Adam, etc., where Skyrim had the Draugr, Dragons, and different variations of bandits, and other similar enemies. The enemies were honestly rather bland in Skyrim when compared to Fallout. I think here I'm going to give gameplay to Fallout, due to its expansive enemies and overall location variation. All the locations in Fallout 4 felt unique, where Skyrim, you enter one Draugr burial site or one Dwemer ruin, and honestly, you will have seen them all. Lore. the overall backing force to any truly great story. Both Skyrim and Fallout 4 have expansive backings to their worlds explaining the story so far, so to speak. With the majority of Skyrim's story completed, you may be wondering, well, what now? Well, have I got the answer for you? Books! Now I know as a gamer, you bide your time with visual media outlets rather than reading, but bear with me. What can be found in the lore books in Skyrim is actually quite interesting. Like for example, we learn the world of Nirn is not only home to the continent of Tamriel, but that it's also called home to the people of Akavir, a continent located directly to the east. Akavir is home to people known as the Sayesi, a breed of half-snake, half-man beings, along with a dragon-cat hybrid king. This is just a fraction of the knowledge found in the lore books in Skyrim, so I highly recommend you get to reading to find out more. Like Skyrim, after the completion of the main questline and some of Fallout's smaller side quests, you may be wondering about the world around you. Fear not, for there are plenty of terminals scattered throughout the wastes. There are also holotapes cataloging the exploits of those who recorded them, along with the occasional note or two. Some of the terminals can even tell you about the other locations that had been hit, such as Washington DC and New York City, and you may even get a viewpoint of people living in the period just after the bombs have been dropped. I wish you luck traversing the wastes in the search of knowledge. If you ask me, Skyrim has a more expansive coverage of its lore, due to it being an original Bethesda RPG. Many don't know this, but the Fallout series was originally created by a company known as id Softworks. The lore for Fallout was never actually written by Bethesda, unlike the Elder Scrolls, making the Elder Scrolls far more important to them. With the Dark Brotherhood, the Companions, the College of Winterhold, the Thieves Guild, and more alike, Skyrim is definitely not lacking in things to do post-main story. Questline like these are what made Skyrim great. All of the side quests were full of twists and turns. Honestly, the first time I played the Thieves Guild, I had no idea that the leader would turn on you, or that the companions were actually werewolves. The side quests add the legend that surrounds the Dragonborn. While there isn't much to say about Fallout 4's side quests, I will say this. They were very underwhelming, due to the fact that the factions were not utilized to their fullest potential. While the main questline offers a large amount of closure no matter who you choose to side with, the actual factions have no mission. No goal you must help them complete other than to destroy the Institute. Were there to be some form of mission after the story, I would have been at least partially satisfied. But there isn't. Overall, the side quests in Fallout 4 were underwhelming at best. If it wasn't already obvious, I believe Skyrim gets a point for this section, mainly because of its overwhelming amount of side quests. If you can't see this, honestly, I'm not going to repeat myself. Just go back and watch that section. With 3 DLC releases, Skyrim fell a bit short in comparison to the previous Elder Scrolls games. Yet where quantity was lacking, there was definitely quality. Beginning with the Dawnguard, there was the addition of 4 new small locations. Fort Dawnguard, the Forgotten Vale, Castle Volkir, and the Soul Cairn. Now this by all means wasn't a bad DLC. It just felt a bit streamlined and less open world. The second was almost a foreshadow of the settlement system in Fallout 4, which was Hearthfire, which allowed you to craft your own house, within reason of course. Finally, Dragonborn was released at the end of all the DLC. This focused on an ancient Dragonborn known as Miraak returning to the land of Solstheim in the province of Morrowind, that the Dragonborn must now stop. The DLC for Fallout 4 began with the release of Automatron, a story about a misunderstood vigilante who wants to fix the problems within the wasteland. Second, there was the Wasteland Workshop, which added new constructs buildable in the settlement. The third DLC release was Far Harbor, adding a completely new location, along with a new story. The next 2 were more workshops like the second DLC release, which added more constructs to the Wasteland settlements. And finally, there was Nuka World, which like Far Harbor added another new location to the land. This allowed you to control a pack of raiders as the overboss. Fallout wins this category because A, the addition of more content than Skyrim, and B, the content was actually really well played out. On another hand though, the DLC is what fixed my problems with Fallout, so I'm not really sure if this is a plus or not. The winner here is Skyrim with a 3-2 lead. With Skyrim's overall better main questline, side quests, and lore, the game has a larger immersion factor than Fallout 4 did. Now, I would like to reiterate that this is not me saying Fallout 4 was a bad game. It's actually the exact opposite. That's how I'm able to criticize it. This is just my take on which one I found more enjoyable. Hey everybody, KnightFall or Alex here. Just wanted to thank you so much for watching. This is my first attempt at a video of this nature and scale, so please go a bit easy on me. If there's anything I can improve upon, just let me know down in the comment section. Please drop a like and subscribe to both channels that this goes up on, and yeah, I hope to see you all next time. Peace.